Monday. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Gil Dye. Joining me today is Perry Protein, Colin Carbohydrate, and Liam Lipid. How's everybody doing? I'm feeling pretty good, man, after all that amino acid-filled Gatorade I drank earlier. Oh yeah, I'm Perry, by the way. Liam, how are you feeling?
I feel pretty solid, like I've got a lot of energy left in the tank.
And, Colin, how are you?
I'm raring to go. I just have so much energy right now.
Well, I'm glad you guys are feeling alright. Today we're going to be discussing these molecules' journey through the digestive system. How was your guys' trip? It was alright, man.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty fashionable time. I didn't have any rough spots, to be honest.
It was awful, man. I hated it.
Well, what was wrong with it, there, Colin?
We literally got broken and ripped apart. It was terrible.
Oh yeah, that sounds pretty awful. Perry, what made it so good for you? Well, we entered the mouth first, and then there. It wasn't too bad. Not much happened in here for me. I just got chopped up by the teeth and sent out of there. That must have been pretty nice for you. Not a lot of action. Yeah, man, it was like a nice massage. Real relaxing.
I don't know what he's talking about. The mouth was awful for me.
And why is that?
The salivary glands just started sending their saliva, which was filled with this salivary amylase stuff. They kept on breaking apart my stomach. My starch, sorry, I misspoke. Not to mention the teeth, which also chewed me up and broke me apart. It wasn't very relaxing at all, unlike what Perry seems to think.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just tougher than you and it felt good.
What's that supposed to mean? I'm plenty tough.
It's not an insult. Some people are just sweeter than others.
Hey, you can't say... Stop, Perry. He's being...
Alright, guys, no need to get your knickers in a bunch. I think it's my turn to talk about the math. The math was alright. I met these fellas right here in that amylase gym. We didn't really have much interest in each other, me and that amylase fella. But I met another lad that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I couldn't put my finger on what was unsettling about him. His name was lingual lipase. I figured I'd keep an eye on him.
Sounds like you did your fair share of socializing, but not much action happened other than the teeth here.
Yeah, those buggers didn't have much to say. Kind of a brainless sort. All they cared about was crushing and whatnot. Tried to avoid them as much as possible.
Alright, so where'd you guys go after that?
We all got squeezed through the pharynx first, which sent us into the esophagus, which then took us to the stomach. Not a lot happened here. It was kind of nerve-wracking, just sitting there getting squeezed down to the stomach.
Yeah, I don't really know what the call was talking about. I thought this part was alright. Kind of like a long car ride. So, that wasn't that bad for you guys then, right? What do you think about it, Liam?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of like sitting on a train whenever I was younger, just heading to the next stop. I don't know why Colin was so stressed out. I think he was just a little bit shaken from the amylase fellas, which were on the train with us, but we protected him. Don't worry.
Alright, finally. Glad you guys were able to take care of Colin. So next up you guys went down to the stomach, correct? That's right, man. Now this is where things got interesting for me. I met an even more in-depth massage therapist named HCl and pepsinogen, or pepsin once the HCl activated into the pepsin. They just started to go to work on me, deep tissue-like, and break me down. Next thing I knew, I was broken into smaller pieces called tri- and dipeptides, and even a few singular amino acids.
Finally, you did something. See how stressful it is?
Nothing wrong here, man. Felt like another massage to me.
That's impossible. I don't understand how you can do things like that and not think they're completely bonkers. Well, let's see if Liam agrees with me. Liam, how was it for you?
Well, actually, something kind of stressful did happen to me. That lingual lipase that I met in the map went all crazy whenever he started talking to that same HCl bloke that Perry was talking about. And then he got some of his friends called gastric lipase, and they started coming at me.
Hey, what did they want?
Well, I heard one of them yell, "Break him down," so naturally I tried to fight them back. Long story short, it did not go well, and they grabbed a hold of me and broke me into a diglyceride and fatty acid. It was bloody putrid.
That sounds rough, but a little bit more exciting than stressful.
Yeah, I guess you could call it exciting. I mean, it was better than just sitting there. Colin, what happened to you?
Man, the stomach was tripped out, so not much was happening in the mouth, and then suddenly that salivary amylase got chopped up, and then nothing happened to me. It was crazy.
Colin, if nothing happened to you, wouldn't that mean it's not crazy?
Well, I mean, I guess, but like, before so much was happening that, like, for something to not happen, that's pretty crazy.
Colin, that's kind of weird, man. If nothing happened, I think you're fine. I mean, I think, what Liam went through and what Perry went through sounded a lot worse than what you went through in the stomach.
Yeah, but think something could have happened.
Actually, nothing could have happened because all of the amylase which would have broken you down got denatured by the hydrochloric acid and chopped up with the protein, so nothing could happen to you.
Well, okay, after the stomach, though, it got pretty hairy for me. Then we entered the small intestine where the pancreas sent in some of its pancreatic juices, containing some bicarbonate, which neutralized the threat of that HCl guy that activated all the enzymes earlier. And it even pumped in more of that amylase stuff. This time it was called pancreatic amylase, because it came from the pancreas. It broke down the rest of the starches, and I was left with just disaccharides called sucrose, lactose, and maltose.
Well, at least it didn't break you down completely. You could be completely gone.
I'm not even done yet. Then these, like, bushy-looking things called microvilli or brush border, which contained even more enzymes to break me down. Their names weren't even that creative. They were called sucrase, lactase, and maltase. And you can guess what they did. They broke down sucrose, lactose, and maltose.
Oh, carbohydrates are always such a bore.
Shut up, Perry. I've got more to go through.
Well, what exactly did they break these disaccharides into?
Well, they broke them down into 3 types of monosaccharides called glucose, fructose, and galactose.
Well, at least all that breaking was over, right?
Yeah, but then absorption started.
Hey man, stop hogging the mic, G. Let me talk some small intestine.
But I wasn't. Fine, carry on. I'll talk later.
Alright, the same pancreatic juices contained the pancreatic amylase for Colin. Also had 3 tripped out dudes that were set on breaking me into some peptides. Specifically dipeptides, tripeptides, and free amino acids.
Did the villa even have anything to do with you?
Yeah, they had a few more enzymes to make sure I was all in tri, and free amino acid form. The main one was called aminopeptidase along with dipeptidase. Liam, did anything interesting happen to you in the small intestine?
Along with all those pancreatic juices, the liver made some of its own special bile and stored it in the gallbladder, which it sent into the small intestine. The bile was an interesting bloke. He really wanted to break me into fat globules through emulsification. Then the pancreatic juices also brought in some pancreatic lipase, which broke me down into a monoglyceride and 2 fatty acids.
How did it feel to be all broken down?
It wasn't as bad as I expected. What happened next was really more interesting than being broken down. I got absorbed. I was broken at this point, so movement was a bit of an issue, with me being non-polar and whatnot. Luckily, bile salts formed in circles around me called micelles and transported me like a fairy, allowing me to stick to the hydrophobic side and using the hydrophilic side to transport me to the outside of the cell.
What happened once you got to the cell?
In my monoglyceride and free fatty acid form, I was able to slip right through the cell membrane real sneaky like through sample diffusion.
Is your journey finally over?
Not quite. I was only broken down to make transport into the cell easier. Now that I'm in, they put me back into a triglyceride. I went into the Golgi apparatus and got coated by a protein and turned into a chylomicron and taken out of the cell through exocytosis.
This is getting long-winded, and I'm getting tired. Can we wrap it up?
I'm almost done, man. Get a hold of yourself. I swear your energy is used up so quickly.
Not my fault fat molecules take forever.
Anyways, back to what I was saying before Colin so rudely interrupted me. I had become too large to enter the capillaries directly, so I was told to head through the lymphatic vessels and enter through the subclavian vein. Finally, I was broken down by the lipoprotein lipase in the capillaries, which separated me from the what was that man's name? Perry, do you remember what that guy's name was? That helped me get through into the helped me. Oh, what's its name? That helped me get to the cell. It's not the mice cell, but I can't remember his name.
Well, if you can't remember his name, Liam, that seems like the perfect point to go to an ad break. I think we're going to come right back.